Good morning. Hi, Kate. So let's do Kay and Keely Get Cozy this morning.
Well, I've
Why
got my
not?
coffee, so that's cozy enough.
Cozy enough. I've gone for herbal tea today. I'm trying to be healthy, January diets and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just wanted to jump on our kind of socials to just have a chat, really. I think there's so much pressure sometimes about having masterclasses, about having collaborations, but do you know who you're even collaborating with? And me and Kay have met through the Women's Thrive speaking opportunities. So we're both on the international stage in March, having a opportunity to share our stories, really. So with that being said, there's lots of podcasts and articles and different things coming out. But who's Kay? Who's the real Kay?
Well, this is the question, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it just?
Yeah. And I think, like you say, we quite often have to go on podcasts and magazine articles and things like that. And it's all that sort of professional side of us, isn't it? About what we do and how we do it and what work we do. But there is another side to us as well, isn't there? And I think for me, the side that people maybe see it on social media, but they don't actually know anything about me and what I do. But I'm actually quite a creative person. Like I always have been, really, really creative. Um, when I was at school, I was in lots of sports teams. Go to gymnastics club, running club, like you name it, I did it. All sorts of stuff. I was actually not as well. I probably was very loud at school, actually, but in a different way.
A different
Loud
way.
in a different way. In a
What
different way.
kind of different way?
Well, I think a lot of that loudness was probably to just to fit in, really. I
Ah,
was always the one who, if anybody said, "I dare you to do that," I would go and do it. In
you'd
fact, I
be
still
that
do
one.
that now.
I'll remember that.
I still do that now. I always say, if you want me to do something, tell me not to do it, and then I'll go and do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I suppose I probably wasn't necessarily a class clown to say like anything like that, but school wasn't necessarily my bag. But I definitely wasn't on the running team or the sports team or I was the one that would kind of be doing the, I don't know, 1500 meter or whatever it was that you do in PE, and I'd be traipsing at the back, like talking to my friend or something. That would be me. But yeah, you're definitely active, that's for sure. Like I see on your socials, like you said, you're going to hip hop dance tonight and you do a lot of dancing, don't you? Lots and lots of dancing,
Yeah, I
which,
think even when I was younger, I remember my mum took me to ballet and tap, but that was completely different. It was one of those things that, you just did, didn't you? But then when I think I was about 14, I joined a professional dance group, and we used to go to like old people's homes, nightclubs, all sorts of stuff. And we used to dance to like routines, and I always thought it was great. But I always wanted to be with the older girls, because the older girls are the ones who went to nightclubs and wore like all the sexy costumes. But I wasn't allowed to. I was always told that I wasn't good enough to be in that team and I wasn't old enough. So I think it's like that inner child in me comes out, when you're dancing. I think it's the only time ever when I'm dancing that I don't think about anything else. Like I wouldn't think about checking my phone. I wouldn't check
yeah,
about anything on the outside world. I'm just totally consumed with
in the
dancing. I
zone.
absolutely love it. In the zone. Love music as well. So obviously music and dancing just goes hand in hand. So I would
Yeah.
probably do it all day long if I could. In fact, I
I
do
think
quite often.
I think with me, like dancing is that zone out, like you say, kind of people talk about going out on the weekend and stuff. But I never find that going to a nightclub or I mean, I live in Torquay. It's a great little sunshine holiday destination, but when it comes to winter, there's not that much going on. But if I go to a nightclub, I might like do a bit of a 1-2 step, but there's never that full embrace of dancing. So for me, I'll have to book Ibiza, or I go to a Butlins adult weekend, like the Ibiza weekender, because when I'm there, I just dance all day, all night. It's just the constant music that gives me that kind of, I just feel the beat and I'm there. And like you say, it doesn't matter about the outside world. And that is, I suppose, when I talk about having me time, I count that as my downtime, which is mad because I'm on my feet constantly. But to be able to just switch off and be in that moment. And I think this year I've come to the conclusion I've very much got ADHD. Been to the doctors, obviously, it's a whole different kind of long-winded journey. I'm not necessarily bothered about that, but to understand myself more and then understand how actually, you know, the music fits into that and how that just it's escapism and yeah, and feeling that beat and the bass and everything is just oh, I love it, love it, love it, love it. And actually, I've had a message this morning, even from a friend saying, oh, there's an Ibiza weekender on in March or September. I was like, let's do March. Don't want to wait till September. And just that time out. Oh, I love music. And one thing for me, if I'm feeling a bit blue for whatever reason, like happy hardcore. When I was a teenager, my nan fostered, and her first two foster kids were girls. I think after that experience with the two girls, she still keeps in touch with them now, very loosely, but does. They had kind of, I think, who was it? Wet, 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 cassette. So that was like my first introduction to a boy band, should we call it? And then following on that, when I'd go back, because I'm Torquay, like I say, but my nan was Liverpool, so I'd go up on the holidays and stuff. And then the next thing, they were gone from Wet, Wet, Wet to happy hardcore, complete difference. But that was my introduction. I was like, wow, I like this. And so for me, I think when I'm feeling a bit sad, whack on the happy hardcore, because you cannot be sad or cannot stay still to happy hardcore. It puts a smile on your face. It forgets whatever you're feeling blue about. And yeah, it's like my go-to. And maybe that's my inner child going back to the very younger years when the foster kids used to whack on the happy hardcore. But yeah, music definitely does feed the soul, doesn't it? For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember one of the first albums I bought was Madonna. And I even used to dress like Madonna. I mean, who did I think I was? with the with those gloves on, those like fishnet gloves, and oh my goodness, that's what I grew up on. Her music, absolutely loved it. But yeah, I love dance music, and I've created so many playlists myself that every day that's what I do in the morning. I listen to music when I'm getting ready every single day because it just puts you in the right mood. And I think I could listen to sad songs all day long. Well, that's not going to help me. It's not going to help me on a mental health journey. So for me, music's been really important to keeping it upbeat, uplifted music, not none of this sad rubbish.
Uh,
But I hear what you say about ADHD as well, because guess who else is on the list?
maybe this is why. Maybe this is why the universe brought us together. Zigzag together through life. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, like you, I'm waiting. I know myself that I have got ADHD, but it's amazing how just understanding that makes me realize that as a kid, I wasn't the little shit that I thought I was. There's actually a reason for it. All of my reports from the school were all the same. Kay's easily distracted. She doesn't pay attention. Just that sort of little disruption side of me all of the time. And they were the constant all the way through. So just have an understanding that actually I wasn't as bad as I thought I was throughout life for lots of different things. I think just having that understanding makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
And I think even doing the research, because I would never, like, ever have ever thought I'd fall into that category at all. It just wouldn't even have crossed my mind. And then when I started getting into it, I wrote the doctor 3 pages of things that I related to. And I was like, whoa, mind blown. But then my mum's got it, amongst other things, bipolar, etc. My sister's on the spectrum, definitely, like, yeah. And then apparently it's like quite common in hereditary. And then I now look at my daughter. So from lockdown and having that trying to be a teacher to your child experience, which was very frustrating and interesting, I actually put her through for a dyslexia test because I'm also dyslexic. Some interesting key finds come back from that. She wasn't dyslexic, but there was some areas that actually she could get support with. And now she's gone into secondary. I see it more and more, like the procrastination, the lastminute.com, oh yeah, I see it. And I think she is definitely definitely a mother's daughter. But it's interesting because if I can understand that now, I can I can help her and support her with that. She's only 12, there's a long way through secondary school coming compared to me who struggled with school. It wasn't like I'm not the most academic person in the world, but I'm entrepreneurial, maybe because I've got ADHD. Who knows? But kind of that having the ability to drive my own blooming vehicle instead of remaining in the corporate world, like, oh yeah, having Jude, so Jude's 2.5. When I was pregnant with him, I just decided enough was enough. Like, I'm done. Get me out of this. Oh, it's like a hamster wheel, isn't it? But then even I went back into my work. Sorry, I'm rambling on here, zigzagging. I went into my work to visit to say hello, and I didn't realize it had been 14 months since I'd left. No wonder they were a little bit cold with me because when you leave a job and you leave on good terms, I was like, yeah, I'll pop in, and then I totally didn't pop in. But when I went in and I just said, I get it. Sales were my thing because it put pressure on, and I need pressure. I work better under pressure. I thrive under pressure. And actually, the sales target, you hit it, then it's gone and you start again. So that just kept me ticking nicely. And I always was. I'd smash out my sales in the last bloody week and procrastinate for 3 other weeks. That was just me as I kind of went. And not working in the office environment, too many distractions. It's like being in school, telling me off for talking. I'm like, let me work from home. This was pre-COVID. Let me work from home because I get so much more done. Otherwise, I'm talking to them. I'm over there. I'm going and, I'm just like here, there, and everywhere and just can't focus. And now it just makes sense. It's like, yeah, it's like you say, it's a bit of a relief really to understand yourself a
Yeah,
bit more
yeah,
and how you tick.
yeah. And we're all of us are different, and even if you're on the spectrum, we're all still different. Yet, even when you're talking there are so many similarities in the way I am. It's like, yep, 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 yeah, yeah, with that. And sometimes I describe having like when your laptop's open and you've got 20 tabs along the top. That's what my head's like as well. It's constant, and I'll do these crazy things like I say, I'm just going to go make a cup of coffee. On the way to make a cup of coffee, I'll do put the washing on. I'll get distracted by a text message. I'll go on into another room and do something else, and I've got all these things. Then I'll come back in and say, "What was that? What was I doing?" When do you
Yeah.
say you were putting the kettle on? Oh yeah, okay. I've just done 20 other things before I've actually made the coffee. But but like you say, it means that you can use it to your power. You can get a lot done. Very very productive, very ambitious, entrepreneurial, all those things. Where not academic, but you don't need to be academic. That's what I've discovered. You don't need that. I'm such a practical person. I've got so many practical skills and that I can use in all sorts of things. And no matter what I'm faced with, I'm so good at problem solving and I will find a way for anything.
Thinking outside the box. That is the
Absolutely.
key. And I love that because when I'm working with clients, I'll be like, you've got to understand if something's in my head, I'm going to go, because if I don't, it's gone. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, what about this or this? And we'll explore all of these different ideas and thoughts because my brain's just popping with like different things. And and now my brain's popping again and I've completely gone off thought process of what I'm even talking about. But yeah, clients popping, ideas, it just is a carnage of fun and chaos and finding different ways and alternative routes of getting to the same kind of destination, but that normal Joe Blog won't. That was it. I remember now. Today I'm off to a school and it's an alternative provision. So these children are they've been excluded or not in mainstream school for whatever reason. And they're now in this new kind of education facility that's different to your everyday mainstream. These kids mostly have been drilled into them that they'll never become anything, not going to achieve anything because they're here and what prospects have they got. And what I shied away from because I didn't really know or understand ADHD or even think I had it, to be fair, but I went to university, I got a degree, but I was always ashamed that I never read a book. I'd done my entire degree without reading a single book. And I just always thought that was a bit shit, to be honest, and a bit of a cop out, and and I don't know, like I always felt a bit embarrassed by it. And when I was working with my mentor, she was like, imagine the impact of that story to children that you're working with, to know that they don't have to be Einstein to go to university and get a degree. And I used to set my alarm for 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd smash out my assignment in one day because I needed that pressure. Because I'd love to sit there and do 500 words this day, 500 words that day, but it just doesn't happen because I'm sidetracked by other stuff. And I would smash it out from 3 in the morning because no one was awake. I couldn't go and do the dishes. I couldn't make noise. I couldn't put the telly on. Like, all of those different things were taken away. And so that's just how I got through university. I'm not advising it. Really not advising it. It was really stressful at times, but I did it. And if I can do it, blimey, anyone can do it. But again, if I understood anything about ADHD back then, I still probably would have done it exactly the same, to be honest. But yeah,
But you
it's just
probably wouldn't have like criticized yourself for it along the way. That's the difference, I think. Like you wouldn't have, spoke badly about yourself or thought badly about yourself, or, I used to think I was thick and stupid and all these things throughout life. But, where now I've got the understanding that actually that's not the case. It does make all the difference.
yeah, for sure. So what are you what do you do, Kay? What's going on? Where are you in the world? What do you do?
What don't I do?
There is that. There is.
Most the question. I do dancing. I do no, but obviously work wise. What I was going to say there about the ADHD, that's probably why, in my career, I had a 28-year career in the police force. So again, that speaks volumes about the ADHD brain and about how, you can problem solve and you can deal with so many different things and you can be absolutely amazing at doing those things. Now I have an understanding why. So yeah, I did that for 28 years. Loved it. Had some good, had some bad, which, we'll save for another day. Otherwise, we'll be here all day instead of a quick coffee chat. But yeah, that's what I did for 28 years. Now I'm an emotional resilience coach. When I was in the police, I probably about 5 years before I actually retired, I became a qualified coach, trauma practitioner, and I knew then that when I retired that I was going to be taking that with me. So I opened my own business whilst I was in the organisation, and then when I left, I just transitioned into doing that. So it's something I love, like absolutely love. I work with women who've experienced trauma and who are ready to rebuild their emotional strength. So yes, I love what I do. What about yourself? You used to pull lots of pints or something, is that right?
Pull lots of pints. Yeah, I did have a Peggy Mitchell get out of my pub scene at one point. But that's a different story. Yeah, so background, I used to be a licensee. So talking of sliding door moments, which we kind of were talking about off screen, but I accidentally fell into the pub trade. So, earlier on you said about tell me no and I'll prove you wrong kind of thing.
Yes.
Well, I come out of school, my mum moved to Goa and left me. So I was left at 17 in the house on my own. And so at that point I was doing a childcare course. And I knew when I was doing it, it was not for me. Like I couldn't deal with it. And so when we were in class and she was like, what do you want to do at the end of this course? I was like, oh, run a B&B. She's like, not sure you're on the right course. I was like, yeah, I agree. But I come out of it and thought maybe I'd be a teacher. So I went to this job interview because I'd fell out with my boyfriend because he was a lazy git. And I was like, I'm not coming home until I've got a job. And so I sat there, walked around kind of anyway, looking for jobs, ended up getting this job in a pub. Now, the person who interviewed me is actually now my husband. That's a different story. But the interview question was, what football team do you support? And I said Liverpool because it's my hometown. And then he was like, start Sunday. And there we are, like 2 kids later. But there we go. But whilst I was there in that job, the guy who owned the pub had never had a female manager. Apparently, females weren't fit to be managers of pubs, basically. And I was like, oh, really? Like, red flag, literally, watch me. And so I literally sat him down and I said, you do know, 1, that's highly illegal. And 2, I'm not going anywhere because I will be your first female manager. And I he put me through the mill. Like, it wasn't easy, but I put off going to uni. So I literally changed my entire life path from that moment of him being an arse. and and yeah, and I become his first female manager. So I was the manager of that pub, and then I ran his other pub, and then we were headhunted for a pub in Exeter, which was this big medieval oldie woldy pub that was like, yeah, it was a whole different story. It's fantastic though, but we took it from absolutely nothing to you couldn't get a seat on a Monday night for dinner, like heaving. And that was kind of life. So yeah, loved it. Pre-kids. Then I had my daughter and I was like, get me out of here. Like, I am done. And so we stayed for 6 months to give like our loyal customers to be fair, in hindsight, they probably didn't give a crap really, but we stayed and done like a long goodbye. And then one of the customers approached me and offered me an invite to an evening presentation, which led me into a world of network marketing. So yeah, so I think it's actually, what would it be? Oh, blimey, it's 13 or 14 years this month
Wow.
in network marketing that took me on this massive personal development journey. Like,
Yeah.
huge journey. And yeah, like there's a few weaves in between, but ultimately I went and become qualified as a coach and mentor, and done all the different bits and bobs. It's really interesting to say about trauma, because for me and my childhood and my own internal traumas, I'm actually doing the trauma training to be able to take that into schools. There's kind of two dimensions to my business. One, from my own journey and my own upbringing and trauma and everything else, I go into schools to empower young people to know that they are more and they can be anything they want to be. But on the other side, I very much am massively passionate to work with mumpreneurs, really, mums who want that life balance. They want success and actually the self-mastery journey, which is never ending. But to kind of hone in on those areas is what I'm massively passionate about, because I have my time where I go away without the kids. I go on holiday, I go to events, I have me, I do me. And then I'm absolutely mum and all in the mum bubble. And then I also am well, I'm going to say I'm a good wife. I like to think I'm a good wife. You may say different, you never know. But I'd like to think I'm a good wife and we have that balance. So for me, like, balance is the key to everything. And I just massively love and enjoy what I do. I feel every day isn't work because I'm passionate, which I'm sure you can absolutely kind of, agree with. And to
Yeah.
come away from the rat race and even going in and visiting, I thought, God, you're all still losing sleep over someone else's dream. Like, whoo, bye. And as I walked out the office, my old desk, I looked on the wall and there was a canvas print thing that said, don't forget the daydream. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, it's a little piece of me still here. He said, oh, do you want it? I was like, no, no, no. I'm living my daydream. Thanks. Leave it for someone else. Yeah. So yeah, it just, I don't know. It's important to follow what you love, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting when you talk about balance there, because I always think that, like, what actually is balance, because and it's different for everybody, because a lot of times balance, I personally don't believe that you can have everything balanced out, because for me, if I want to improve my fitness, then something else has got to go, because it's like that all the time, isn't it? So you want to put into something, you want to put into your own development, or you want to put into work, or you want to put into your family. Something else has to give. So it depends on what your priorities are, really, doesn't it? And then you sort of get, I would say, an uneven balance,
Yeah.
but still a balanced lifestyle, so that your priority is sort of at the top of that balance. But
Sure.
yeah, interesting.
And
Yeah,
I think
isn't it?
that's like, that the perfection of life and people seeking perfection, does it exist? Because I've created the life balance blueprint wheel, and it's never going to be a circle. You're never going to go round in this harmonious, like riding a bike with a perfect circle. It's going to be jagged and it's going to be everything else, like you say, for sure. And, kind of, if you can understand that, own that, but prioritize what's important to you in that time and in this moment, then that is your balance, isn't it?
Yeah,
Finding the right spikes.
yeah, absolutely. Because when I look back at, like, when I was a police officer, and I had my kids and I was going to work and I was being a wife and I was, you know, doing all these other things. The thing that I never ever did was look after me.
Yeah.
So there was no balance there because everything else took priority. Where now it's completely flipped the other way around, where I'm the top priority. So if I get myself in a good place every day, everything else flows,
Mm.
everything
Yeah.
flows. But if I'm, and I was going to say, if I'm not in a good place, I'm not never in a good place now because of that is my priority.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I'm in a good place, everyone else feels amazing, everyone else benefits from me feeling awesome. So
What's the
it,
saying? There's the old saying, isn't it? Is it can't pour from an empty cup? Is that the one? Yeah. Well, mine needs a refill, to be fair, a warm refill of a cup of tea, I think. But yeah, pouring from an empty cup, and that's it. And that's when I say, like, I book my time away. Like, me and my husband, we have 2 weeks a year what we
yeah,
can use in whatever way we want, where he spends his predominantly in golf. But at the same time, those 2 weeks are completely away from family to be ourselves, to be who we are, and to do what we enjoy. And then we also then incorporate the family time and, all of that stuff as like priorities. Um, but yeah, it's funny. My daughter, like I said, she's 12 and she was like, I need a holiday. I was like, kid, you don't know like how well you've got it. You've been on more planes than most of my mates. Like, I need a holiday. Yeah.
yeah. The thing is, it is really important, isn't it, to have that time for yourselves? It's like Wendy and I, every Thursday we have a date day. So, and I know people go on date night, how cheesy, but we think it's really, really important to actually not work on, we picked a Thursday on purpose because it's during the week. So, we can go places, do things where there's not lots of other people around. And we actually dedicate that day to each other so that, you know, we can still go around our busy lives, do our work separate from each other, but then we dedicate that time. And I've had so many of my friends say, "Oh, you're going to come here?" And I always go, "Oh, what day is it on?" "Thursday." And they go, "Oh, it's Thursday, isn't it?" And I say, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh, Penny, not just like, why don't you just come?" Because I'm not. Like, if I start saying, "Oh, yeah, okay, then just for, I'll just do it this week," then it'll be the next week and the next week and the next week. And it's the same with the gym. I go to the gym 3 times every week. And I know that if I do not go on one occasion, then the next week I'll do exactly the same. And I'll be like, "Oh, I'll just give it a miss today," because, I like it when I'm there, but it's actually going that is the bit
Yeah.
that I don't like, get
The
myself
hard bit.
for. But once I'm there, but if I stop doing that, if I don't prioritize those things like my gym routine and my date day, then I'll just give to everybody else all the time instead of
And I,
giving to me. When I go to the gym, I feel better. When I eat well, I feel like all those things about looking after me and allowing me to feel good, moving my body, moving my energy. Plus, I don't want bingo wings.
oh, well, I mean, it's early January and I digress, but I own a charity as well. And that charity is signed up to take part in Tough Mudder.
Oh, yes.
So in August, I will be doing the 15K Tough Mudder. Now, I'm not
Um,
like you, and I don't have that gym routine, but it's about to become my life because I might die, funnily enough. So I thought I need a blast of keto because it's the only thing that does keep me focused on the food elements. So I'm 8 pounds down in a week, which is fine. Lots of it will be water retention, but at the same time, it just kick starts. And then once I feel a bit better because I've lost some weight, and then I feel like I want to keep it off even more so. So therefore, the gym will naturally come into that, and I've got no choice because I will die. So yeah, so Tough Mudder is my commitment this year. That I'm saying through gritted teeth of excitement.
yeah.
Um,
Once you do it though, once you've actually achieved it, you'll be so proud of yourself. You'll love
oh
it.
God, yeah. And
Yes, look
I
at
think
me.
the difference is like I done the 10K commando challenge a few years ago before COVID, and typical me lastminute.com, I only done 4 weeks training, and
Wow,
it was tough. Like
I
it
bet.
was tough. It was brutal, but I
But then
did it.
you're tough, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And don't tell me I'm not going to do something because I
Yeah,
absolutely will.
exactly.
And that's it. By telling the world, I'm committed to it, aren't I? Regardless. But yeah, so it will come and it will give me that kind of push. So I'm feeling like by August, I'll have no bingo wings. I'll be in the best shape of my life, or for a few years anyway. Might have shed that kind of baby weight. And like you say, I will feel good, but maybe I'll be in a new routine of loving the gym. Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows? Heading to 40, loving the gym. I say heading to 40, I'm 35, but I'm still heading in that direction. Yeah. Anyway, we digress. I don't know how long we've been
Yes.
talking, but probably longer than our 10-minute planned. Um, but there we go. So, Kay, it would be lovely to have a Kay and Keely cozy chat again at some point, and I think we will, between ourselves and our group within our Women's Thrive little bubble that we're in. We're just going to try and kind of not do a podcast, not do a masterclass, not do anything like that, but just be us and do a bit more on screen, really, isn't it?
Zigzag around life.
Like around like anyone listening will be like, I'm 1 minute they're talking about that. Next thing they're over there. She's talking about being in a pub and then she's talking about network marketing. What's that all about?
But actually, it might be that there's lots of people out there identify with us, and they might actually think, "Oh yeah, that's me too.
Yeah,
Palatable."
or someone doing a degree thinking, oh my God, I set my targets like 3 o'clock in the morning the night before too. And I'll be like, yes, you can do it. Oh God, there we go. Anyway, enjoy your day, because
Yes,
you have lots of plans. And thank
yes.
you for your time. And
I will.
I'll see you on the other side.
You certainly will.
See you
Take
later.
care. Bye. Bye.